people shot framed up and we were rolling.
No.
Okay. All right. And so 5 minutes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Andy, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
The last time we talked, it was on somebody's lovely patio in East Dallas, and you were having a very fine cigar, I remember.
Oh, good.
And we were talking about another movie. This time we're talking about City Island.
Yes.
I must confess to you, I never heard of City
Not
Island.
too many people have, not even the people who live in Manhattan, which is very close to it.
But is it a real island?
It's a real island right off of the Bronx, about a mile long and a half a mile wide.
Well, it's a wonderful location for this film.
Yes, yes.
Gives it an ambiance and a
Yes, very much
wonderful setting. The picture, in the picture, you play you played a husband and a father, and your secret desire is to be an actor, but you're embarrassed to tell anybody.
so. I'm a correctional officer in local Nassau County Jail.
Yes, not a prison guard, you're a corrections
no,
officer.
not a prison guard.
But in your own life, was there ever a time when you were embarrassed to talk about that?
No, I wouldn't say it was embarrassed, but initially the conceit of committing into that world of, beginning to take acting classes and stuff was a private thing, I mean, it wasn't like something I was going, hey, I'm taking acting, there was kind of private about it, and the exploration was private, but pretty soon it became, once I did my first play and stuff like that, it was, I was sort of out of the closet, as they say,
What's the worst audition you ever had to go on?
Oh God, there's been many. There was always either very bad auditions on my part or insensitivity on the part of the people who were holding the auditions, and there was always those cliches of where you do the thing and they just dismiss you like very politely but very quickly. It's that old theatrical cliche where you go, to be or not to be. Thank you very much. Next. You never get the whole speech out. So sometimes it's that brutal.
How did you handle the rejection?
Well, I was aware that was part of the game, and I just had to have a tough skin and keep, forging forward. I had nothing else that I wanted to do and nowhere else to go. Well, I guess I did have other places to go, but not any, nothing that, I had a calling, I guess you might say, that this is something I needed to do.
You were determined.
Yes, very determined.
The audition for Godfather 3, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
or the first Godfather audition you ever had to do.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
Well, I was doing a movie for Paramount called Internal Affairs, and the head of the studio Frank Mancuso Sr., came to the set, and over lunch told me that he wanted to talk to Francis because he wanted me to be the character in The Godfather.
Vincent.
Yeah, Vincent. They were preparing the movie, and he was the head of the studio. So that was technically a very good person to be supporting you. And but it took about 4 months, or at least 4 months, or 5 months before I actually got a chance to meet Francis and screen test for him. I was the last person who screen tested for the movie, and he gave me the part, and we started rehearsals 2 days later.
It was.
So even though the studio wanted me, it took a long time for Francis to come around to me.
Did you audition with someone else?
With Madeline Stowe.
Ah.
She's playing the role of Mary Corleone.
Is this Hemingway movie the next thing you're going to do?
I certainly hope so.
You haven't started it then?
No, I'm still financing the picture.
And Anthony Hopkins is to play Hemingway?
He's attached to play Hemingway, yes.
What does that mean, attached to?
Well, we don't have a production yet, so therefore I can't officially hire him because I don't have the money to hire him. So he's lent his name to it because he has a desire to play the part. So he's supporting me in the venture, as I raise the money. And then once I have the money, I call him, I say, we've got the money, we're ready to go. When are you available? And he'll say, December. And I said, okay, we'll start in December.
Now you're going to direct it.
Yes.
And you're going to play the role of Fuentes.
Yeah, Gregorio Fuentes, yes.
Yes. So you hope to get it started this year?
I hope so, yes. That's the plan.
Yes. What would you like people to when they come out of the theater having seen City Island, what do you want them to feel?
Well, you want any movie you do to have a certain resonance, you know, and people to go through sort of a cathartic experience. That's the nature of art, you know. And Vince says at the end of the movie, you know, God gives you a second chance to atone for your sins, and he gave me my second chance. And, you know, if there's any message, that's the message, that if you are carrying some sort of burden in life, that you have something that you haven't taken responsibility for, or something that you're hiding, it ultimately becomes a burden, it's something unhealthy in your system, that, you know, trust that the people who love you, when you say it, or you deal with it, that they'll understand and forgive you, and life will then begin to move forward from there.
Andy, I must tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed the film.
Thank you so much.
I just came out and I had such a happy, wonderful feeling.
Thank you. I wish you were on camera when you said that.
Well, I will say it on camera.
Thank you so much.
I'm ready. Okay. Is there really a city island?
Yes, there is most definitely a city island. Not too many people know it's there. Even the people who live in Manhattan, which is very close, is not there.
Okay. When you were just getting started, were you embarrassed to tell people you wanted to be an actor?
Embarrassed would not be the right word. Private would be better.
Let's see. In this movie, you're playing a corrections officer.
Right.
Not a prison guard.
Not a prison guard. It's a running joke in the movie, so I'm glad you clarified that for me.
You're playing this man who really wants to be an actor, but he's just embarrassed to tell people. What do you make of that situation? And I know the part that will fit with that, okay. What was the worst audition you ever had?
It was a very quick one, a quick dismissal.
How did you handle the rejection?
I was, you know, I guess I was stubborn, determined.
What was your audition like for the Godfather movies?
Mm.
Okay. I understand you're planning to do a movie with Anthony Hopkins, who'll be playing Hemingway.
Yes.
When does that start?
As soon as possible. We're still raising money. You have cash for me? You have any leftover?
I might be able to.
In the cookie jar?
Maybe. That's where it would be. And you're playing Fuentes.
Yes. Gregorio Fuentes, who was the captain of his boat for the last 20 years of his life.
Okay. As people leave City Island, what do you want them to feel, or what do you want them to have gotten from the movie?
You know, you want them to have an emotional experience in any movie you do, you know.
Annie, I must tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Wonderful cast, character-driven story that keeps you going from beginning to end. And
no explosions.
No explosions. Thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
Good. Okay. Thank you all very much
you
for
so
putting
much.
up with me.
No.
I'm going to steal a restroom break.
Absolutely. We need